Hi, this is Steve Kraus, Chief of Insights for Similarweb, and in this video I want to talk about a broad economic trend, the rich getting richer, and talk about how that's fundamentally reshaping the economy and all different product categories, and I'm going to do that through the lens of our market intelligence. It's not just that the rich are getting richer. The fundamental change going on in our economy right now is what I call the second Great Compression. To understand that, let's first talk about the first Great Compression. So in this chart, we're showing what percent of the income in the United States goes to the top 10% of the population. And if you think back about the 1920s, that was a period of time when there was a lot of income concentration, known of course as the Gilded Era. Then came the Depression, and toward the end of the Depression, starting in about 1940, in the United States we started raising income tax rates on the rich. And we entered a period of time the economists call the Great Compression, when the incomes of the rich, particularly on a discretionary basis, came down, and the income of those at the bottom went up, because we had the GI Bill, strong labor unions, a strong manufacturing base. So that was a period of time the economists call the Great Compression. And that's when middle-class America really had an aspiration of the American dream that was very much a mass affluent American dream. People aspired to a stable job and 2.5 kids and a house in the suburbs. Well, starting in about 1980, the economy fundamentally changed. And we've had growing income concentration, which some have called the Great Divergence, but really the way I think about the trends over the past 40 years or so is the second Great Compression. And we see this very strongly when we take a look at incomes. So here we've taken household income, we've tracked it back over about 50 years, we've adjusted for inflation, and we've broken it into quintiles or fifths. And here you see that pretty much all of the income growth over the past half century has gone to that top fifth of the country. So what else have you had in the economy? This Great Compression, where the bottom 80% are compressing together, where they've had smaller percentage gains over a smaller base. So we've got 20% that's been growing in terms of their economic standing, and the bottom 80% compressing together. And it's not just in terms of income, where we can look at other studies such as the Pew Study that's referenced there on the left in that bar chart that has also shown the declining size of the American middle class. They show also that the affluent group has gotten a little bit larger, that the lower income groups have gotten a little bit larger. But as you think about that great mass of 50% in the middle, in terms of their consumer behavior, they increasingly behave like consumers who are struggling in terms of their value orientation, their interest in store brands and coupons and things like that. So we also have this Great Compression here, where the bottom 80% of the population are increasingly undifferentiated, not only in terms of their incomes, but in terms of their consumer behavior. So as a result, in all different product categories, you've got 20% of consumers who are thriving and the bottom 80% who make up a very large mass market. So even back in 2011, Procter & Gamble came out and started talking about this. Now, Procter & Gamble became the biggest advertiser in the world by creating brands for the great thriving American middle class, and back in 2011 they came out and said, you know, we don't really view the economy that way anymore. That we view it as you've got to go high to the small group of elite affluent consumers, or you've got to go very mass. And pretty soon after Procter & Gamble came out and said that, Frito-Lay came out and said, oh, we see the market as two different kinds of snackers, a small group of more upscale snackers, and then a larger group of value-oriented snackers. So these articles are back from 2011, 2012, but this same dynamic of a bifurcating economy is going on today. So let's look at some of our latest market intelligence data that really highlights this notion of the bifurcating economy. So first, I'm taking a look at a very popular app today called Wish, which is kind of dollar store shopping meets Amazon. So it's a very popular app. Here we're just looking at Android, but you see it's installed almost on 14% of Android phones now, with over 70 million downloads in general. You see how the usage time is trending up to now almost 25 minutes. Almost 1%, in fact now it's over 1% in terms of daily active users. Of all the Android owners out there, 1% are using this app on a daily basis. And among those who've got this app installed, it's averaging at about 10% a day in terms of daily users. So you see this broad mass market kind of appeal of a brand like this. And I mentioned that the Wish app is kind of dollar store shopping meets Amazon. Well, another kind of category that's up are dollar store brands. And a lot of people, when I go out and speak, say they have websites. Yes, they have websites, and they're crushing it. In fact, we've got here two of our Momentum Award winners, Dollar General and Family Dollar, that have maybe had a little bit of a downturn in Q1 of 2018. But as you look at the results as a whole, you clearly see their 2017 was much better than their 2016. So you've got lower end and mass market brands doing very well. What else is doing well? Well, not every luxury brand is up, but certainly several of them are. Gucci, another one of our Momentum Award winners, up very strongly. You see they had a strong peak in Q4. There's obviously a seasonality to their business, but you see the tremendous growth they've had. And you see the digital growth in an old school brand like Rolex, where they've essentially doubled visits to their website over the course of the past 2 years. What else is up? Well, investment firms are up. Brokerages are up. You see Fidelity pulling away from the pack with very strong growth, but you see strong growth really across all the players in the category. Again, any kind of affluent skewing category is going to be doing well as this rising tide is lifting their boat, as it were. If we take a look at investment news, you see CNBC nearly doubling their digital traffic over the course of the past 2 years, and other players in the category up as well. And finally, who's down? Those who are stuck in the middle. Obviously, traditional retailers are struggling, but in particular, it's the ones who are stuck in the mass market without a clear positioning as the economy bifurcates. It's neither mass nor affluent. It's unclear in terms of the value proposition. That's who's really struggling. So in today's economy, as it continues to bifurcate, the lesson, go high, go low, stay out of the middle. I'm Steve Kraus, and until next time, may all your decisions be data-driven.